everyone's dunking on the Big Ten and the SEC for not agreeing on the future of the playoff, but buried in all of that, in the latest reporting, I'm worried the Big 12 is making a huge mistake here. I am concerned about that. Will this come back to haunt Brett Yormark, or is the Big 12 simply standing up for what's good and pure in the sport when no one else will? In this video, I'll answer those questions for you and give you the unbelievable, the quite hilarious quotes that are coming out of the state of the college football playoff from others outside of the Big Ten and the SEC. All right. So the temperature in the room right now is a lot of people really hot with the SEC and the Big Ten. Not happy, not thrilled with what they're doing right now. They have corralled all the power. They have absolute power in terms of directing the future of the college football playoff and directing the future of the sport, right? But yet they can't agree on what they're doing. They are butting heads right now. They are not getting along. These are two big egos in the room, and no one seems to be budging right now, especially as the SEC is kind of like the old money here. They've been the establishment for a long time, and the Big Ten has now won 3 straight national championships. So why would they give in to anything that the SEC says when the SEC hasn't even played for a national title, and the Big Ten has won 3 straight? They've got plenty of leverage there. They're probably not going to give in. So they missed the deadline, the January 23rd deadline, to extend the playoff to 16 next year, or to 24, which is what the Big Ten wants. It seems everybody in the room wants it to expand, which, I mean, look, I don't think that's necessary. I don't agree with that. But everybody in the room wants it to expand. They just can't agree on what to do because of the SEC and Big Ten. So here are some quotes that Brett McMurphy gathered and compiled from On3. All right. Now, I'm going to get to the part of his article that has what I think is potentially a big mistake for Brett Yormark in the Big 12. But first, let's take a moment to enjoy and savor these quotes. All right. Quote, the SEC and Big 10 wanted the power to make a decision, and now they can't even come to a decision. That's an industry source. Quote, it's disgusting, another industry source said. It's disgusting. Quote, the SEC and Big 10 wrestled the power away and now have fumbled the opportunity to expand to 16 or more teams, a source said. They fumbled it. They fumbled. I feel like that's like a Gen Z term, right? They fumbled. The SEC and Big Ten fumbled it. Quote, they basically bullied their way into an agreement that provides them a lion's share of revenue and control, and yet they can't work together because of their egos. Look, all of this is true and very fair. I think we can all see this and realize this, and it's in some ways just validating to see that everybody that's in the room feels the same way as I think most of us on the outside. Like, come on, guys. You can't agree on anything when you wrestled away all this power. Like, what are we even doing here? All of this is very fair to take these shots at. But I'm concerned about one thing that gets buried in there as we start to have some fun with those comments, man. Let's get to how this affects the Big 12, okay? And please do like the video, subscribe to the channel as I push toward 30K subs. I appreciate all of you guys. All right. This is one line in the story from Brett McMurphy. It says, not that it matters, but the remaining 8 leagues also prefer the SEC's 16-team model, but they are the silent majority. And that's where my concern creeps in, okay? So this is the 5+11 playoff format. The 5 automatic qualifiers, your 5 conference champions, and then 11 at-large bids, which Brett Yormark supported instead of the 4-4-2-2 plan from the Big Ten, which would have required the Big 12 and ACC to sign off on being half as valuable as the SEC and Big 10. That was a non-starter for obvious reasons. But now the Big 10 wants 24. And one of the proposals they have thrown out there about 24 has been everybody gets 4 auto bids. Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC. Everybody gets 4 auto bids. If that's the case, I don't know why the Big 12 and the ACC, for that matter, are not like rushing to support that. And that's what I don't get here. And this is where I worry about what this means for the Big 12's future, because that's just a golden ticket to having more playoff access than you would otherwise get. I mean, there's no chance, whatever the number gets up to, I don't know how you would get 4 like at-large Big 12 or 1 conference champion and 3 at-large Big 12s in there ever, under any circumstance. That's a golden ticket, man. Charlie, take it from Willie and run if you're getting that golden ticket, dude. So I guess the question is, well, what's going on here? I mean, is the Big 12 just being a real steward of the game? Are they trying to do what's best for the overall of the sport, because I think most people would agree we don't need 24 teams in a playoff. Like, I understand why that's being proposed. We don't need that. And at a certain point, you're going to get diminishing returns on the regular season. It will lose some value. And I hate that. Like, college football should be a largely regional sport where the regular season matters more than anything and rivalries are preserved and all that stuff. But we moved so far away from that. And if you're the Big 12, it's just simply inarguable that the 2014 playoff with 4 auto bids for your conference is the best thing you could ever imagine and ever get. So why is it that the Big 12 still, according to this reporting, is in line with everybody else saying, hey, we'll take 5 plus 11. That's what we're going to support here. I don't think, I know I raised this question. I don't think it's some altruistic point of view here from everybody else. Like, okay, since the Big Ten is going to be crazy and trying to do something that's not great for the sport, we'll stand up for the good of the sport and the good of all of this. And we'll say, nah, even though that would be better for us, we're not going to take it. I don't think that it's that. I don't. Nobody in a college football space right now acts in an altruistic way. That's one of the biggest problems. We don't have anybody doing that. You need a commissioner that would do that, but I digress. We don't have it. So what's actually going on here? I would think that there are some politics at play. Perhaps it is, well, look, I don't even know that I could say I think. I'm sure. It's just worrying about the dynamics and the politics of what's going on in the room. Like, if you go too all in on this, does that mean it's just like too transparent? Like, oh, of course those guys are going to go all in on this, and it just turns the SEC off even more. You know, does it hurt your legitimacy, your standing, your negotiating power on other things in the room? Because how could you possibly think that you would deserve 4 auto bids? Maybe some of it too is just a credibility thing. For Brett Yormark made the big point over and over again when he was talking about 5 plus 11 and why he would support that over 4-4-2-2. He said over and over again that you got to earn it. These should not just be automatic bids handed out. You have to earn it if you're going to make the college football playoff. So maybe it's that preserving credibility thing. I mean, the ACC still standing with it too with the 5 plus 11 thing. And the ACC didn't get a whole lot of love in the college football playoff this past year, right? I mean, it's not like the ACC is lighting the world on fire there either. And it may just be the other thing that I would consider here. It may just be a total resignation to the fact that, like, hey, the SEC is never going to go for that anyway. So if we waste time and energy campaigning for this, and we know it's not something that, like, the SEC is ever going to entertain, the Big Ten's extending an olive branch here to the Big 12 and ACC to try and get something done, but the SEC is just never going to buy into that, then maybe it does more harm than good for us to push for that and just draw the ire of the SEC even more. You know, maybe you're worried about that pushing we've seen the threats from the SEC lately about just leaving and doing their own thing, only playing conference games, only having their own playoff. All of that, as ridiculous as it sounds, maybe it's an effort not to push too close to that. I'm certainly understanding if that's the case. Like, I don't love that that's the case and where we're at in college football and college sports and all that, but I could understand if that's the case. So I see there are some avenues here where you could certainly make me think, all right, I get it, Big 12, but I do. It's like somebody teased you a little bit with that 4 auto bids, man. If you're not going to just take that and run with it, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, so speaking of, I just mentioned it. Could the SEC break off and do its own thing? Is that a legitimate possibility? Click here to find out.